This is V. Welcome to AIAgents. Today we talk about the scalable workflows, from no-code prototypes to enterprise solutions. We will turn the small, scrappy wins into robust, secure systems that scale with AI. I'll show you where no-code shines, where it breaks, and how to bridge the gap. Let's get started. Quick reminder, if you missed a foundation episode on AI landscape or AI terms, you could find the links in the playlist in the description. We will begin with real capabilities that you will need to implement AI well. Not just models, but people, processes, data, and governance. We will compare OpenAI, Azure, and AWS in practical terms, compare where each is strong and where trade-offs appear. Next, we will surface the security and compliance items that make or break the production use. Think data residency, access controls, and auditability. You will learn how hybrid solutions mix the best of both worlds. Fast iteration upfront, enterprise-grade controls behind the scenes. Finally, we will build a simple decision platform so you can choose the right platform at the right time with confidence. The first section, we set the stage. Let's talk about what counts as a no-code and what counts as enterprise, and how to move between them without rebuilding everything from scratch. No-code solutions get you moving quickly. You can use ChatGPT web interface for ideas, drafts, and quick checks. And since a few days ago, building actual flows with the Chat UI tool is now also possible on OpenAI. You can use tools like Zapier to automate common tasks in the afternoon. Use an A10 if you want open source workflows you can self-host later with a myriad of connectors available out of the box and almost 6,000 templates. They are quick to implement and perfect for discovery, but they all have limits in scale, control, and observability. On the other hand, enterprise platforms carry you the rest of the way. Azure platform with OpenAI, AWS Bedrock with Anthropic, and ChatGPT Enterprise offer policy controls and governance. You get robust infrastructure, a density integration for your single sign-ons, and security at its core. This is where you prove reliability and scale, not just a possibility. Let's talk about the moment you outgrow no-code. There are clear threshold signals. Once you see them, you will know it's time to level up. Number one, sensitive data. If your AI prompts or AI outputs include personal or confidential information, you will need regional controls, audit logs, and a clear retention policies. You might choose to host AI models on your own infrastructure. That's your cue to move into governed platform. You won't be able to achieve it with the normal hosted platforms. Number two, workflow complexity. When the flows have multiple branches, retries, error handling, and monitoring, low-code, no-code tools start to creak. You need an engine designed for reliability. Number three, scaling requirements. As the volume, concurrency, and the performance targets rise, platform limits will appear. Even with the paid plans, shared infrastructure can become a bottleneck. Number four, security and compliance. If GDPR, sector regulation, or internal policy applies, you will need data residency, access controls, and provable governance. That's certainly enterprise territory. Take a moment to consider. Have you hit any of these thresholds already in your business? What triggered the change in your organization? You can share one story and one lesson with the group if you're doing this as a group activity, or post it in the comments below if you're on YouTube. Now let's compare options head to head. We will look at scalability, integration, security, and compliance. With these three lenses, you'll need only one decision. No-code tools are brilliant for start, but limits arise fast. They're typically capped by a plan and a platform, and each extra step adds latency. As the logic grows, performance and reliability can degrade. Enterprise platforms, on the other hand, are designed for scale from day one. You can configure throughput, isolate resources, and plan capacity. They sit on robust cloud infrastructure where horizontal scaling is a routine. But of course, it comes at extra cost and extra complexity. When it comes to integration, no-code tools offer pre-built connectors for common apps. This is perfect for quick wins and early prototypes. But deep integration with legacy systems or bespoke APIs can be painful. You will often need to still design those by hand and write them in code. Enterprise platforms, on the other hand, plug directly into your cloud ecosystem. You get a private networking, identity, access management, and a role-based controls. When you need a custom integration, the tool chain available within the enterprise platforms come with the multiple patterns and already there ready to integrate. When it comes to security and compliance, no-code hosted solutions often mean third-party storage and limited controls over where your data is handled. This can create GDPR headaches and gaps in auditability. Admittedly, one of the solutions is to host solution yourself, but then you'll likely already be on enterprise-grade platform. We will talk about that in a minute. For the enterprise platforms, These already bring data residency option to the table. Many of them allow encryption in transit and at rest and a detailed audit log. You can prove who accessed what, when, and why. That's the difference between a clever pilot and a production-ready system. Let's stop for a second. Which limitation of no-code have impacted you the most? Would that be the throughput or rate limits, integration with legacy systems, or control and compliance around data? Drop your answer in the comments. Okay. Let's look at enterprise layer, a simple blueprint, and then 2 big clouds in practice. Gartner provided excellent overview. Think of it as a blueprint for modern AI. Your implementation is centered around your data. It's the foundation that everything rests on. Enterprise platforms, they automate, route, catalog, and monitor how data is used. That's what's built on, it's not bolted on. 5 focus areas to keep you safe and scalable. You will need to consider the guardrail, how to observe, how to deploy, test and govern, and integrate. They ensure the quality, safety, and velocity. 4 roles make it workable. You will need teams made out of software developer, data engineer, analytics engineer, and a business analyst. Each has a clear responsibilities and tools working as one delivery team. It's difficult to achieve this level of sophistication on a vertical solution or a single low-code, no-code platform. This is where platforms like Microsoft Azure comes in. Azure runs OpenAI models on the Microsoft infrastructure. You get familiar capability with enterprise-grade security controls. The data stays in the Microsoft Cloud regions you choose on your own footprint. You can use the private networking connectivity to keep sensitive flows inside your perimeter. Single sign-ons with the corporate credentials simplify access and deprovisioning. Extensive certification helps you pass audit and meet policy. Azure provides it all under the same roof, from data management to results validation. Amazon Web Services give you a similar set of benefits. It gives you multiple top models behind a single API, so you can pick the right model for each task without rewriting your system. It provides data sharing that's restricted by design, and a private link keeps traffic private. You can fine-tune when it adds value and skip it when it doesn't. You also get the full data engineering toolset that you can operationalize to your solution, and pay-per-use pricing keeps spending aligned with adoption and value. So how do you blend speed with safety? A hybrid approach do exactly that. Let's compare patterns and then see a simple case study. If you are doing it as a training with your team, have you tried connecting the no-code tools to the enterprise systems? Could you take a few moments and discuss together what worked well, what broke under load, and share your biggest hurdles and how you solved it? Hybrid workflow strategies combine no-code simplicity with enterprise security. Your orchestration pattern would be, for example, taking Zapier or N8N and drive the workflow, but call Azure or AWS AI services for heavy lifting. You can keep sensitive data in your secure cloud if needed. You can self-host N8N so traffic stays on your network. You can leverage hundreds of connectors without building them from scratch, and yet still lean in on AWS capability if something is lacking. The incremental migration means that you can let your business teams prototype fast with no-code to prove value before involving your full IT team. You can move the critical components into enterprise services as volume, sensitivity, and complexity grows. That allows you to balance convenience with the security at each step and build team skills as benefits accrue. Imagine a challenge. In financial services firm, a client is trying to automate the welcome messages, but remain GDPR compliant and on brand. Personal data, auditability, and tone all matter very much. The solution would be to use PowerAutomate for orchestration and AzureOpenAI for text generation inside the Microsoft boundary. It keeps prompts minimal, it logs decisions, and restricts actions through a single sign-on. The outcome would be that manual effort is significantly reduced, the tone becomes consistent, and audit trails satisfy compliance. The team scaled safely, one flow at a time. Next up, a simple decision lens for platform choice, and then we talk about GDPR basics your workflow must respect. All right, let's look at some of the potential decisions you need to make. Number 1, as we covered before, data sensitivity. If data sensitivity is high, start an enterprise platform to avoid costly rework later. For number 2 is scale requirements. Are you expecting the high volumes or concurrency? If so, plan for Azure or AWS from day one. Number 3, complexity. The complex logic will need and require enterprise or hybrid approach because it will have retries, monitoring, observability, and other steps in the middle. Now, last but not least, budget and resources. Do you have limited IT budget? If so, start with a hosted low-code Prove the value first before you automate or invest. Let's talk about GDPR compliance consideration. Your main risk areas is the use of personal data inside prompts or outputs. This can travel cross-border due to data transfers without the safeguards, and missing or weak data processing agreements between different parties involved. When you use the hosted solutions, you often don't have any control over it. How can you mitigate that? You can run UK, EU regions in Azure or AWS. You can minimize data, send only what the models require to complete the task. You can put strong DPA in place with the vendors and partners. And where possible, enable zero retention or don't train on my data options to limit exposure. And of course, you can overcome all of that if you were to choose it to build in-house on a cloud solution with a competent team. Okay, let's make it concrete. 3 hybrid patterns you can use now. You can copy, adapt, and deploy. Number 1, Zapier and OpenAI. You can trigger on form submissions, support tickets, or CRM updates. It generates summaries, draft replies, and tag records, then it routes results to Slack, email, or your CRM. It's perfect for rapid wins and a low-risk content, but it comes with many drawbacks. Zapier is not very scalable. You have to pay per run. Number 2, self-hosted n8n on AWS Bedrock. You keep orchestration on your servers. You call the best model for each job via the Bedrock. By combining it together, you keep the latency low, the traffic stays private, and you retain control over scale and cost. It's great when compliance and custom logic matters, but you want to retain some of that flexibility over low-code, no-code. Another example is PowerAutomate and AzureOpenAI. With the low-code flows across the Microsoft 365 with EnterpriseAI inside your network, you can achieve the ROI quickly. You can use Entra ID for access controls and log everything for audits. Ideal with your organization already runs on the Microsoft. We will close with the key points, then a quick reflection to log in for your next action. Momentum beats perfection. Some of your key takeaways for today. Strategy. Start with no code for speed and scale to enterprise as the data sensitivity, complexity, and the throughput increase. For the implementation, choose platform for security and compliance first, because fixing that later is expensive. Use hybrid approaches during the transition to de-risk change. One point to reflect on. What's one workflow in your organization that would benefit from these approaches? Write it down now, and we will discuss a few examples in the next session. Consider where data is readily available, and if that is automated with AI now, it will have the biggest impact on your business. Given what we talked about, the privacy and security, does that workflow also require you to be compliant? And for the final activity, share one workflow you want to implement in the next 30 days. You can share it with a group if you're working in a group, or post a question in the chat. In the next session, we will learn about how to spot the opportunity with your business. We will build on the ideas that you worked on so far, and we will try to expand from there. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope you enjoyed this session. I put a couple more videos over here that's relevant for your learning, and I'll see you in the next one.